Greetings from the Capitol. It's hard to believe that it's time for an end of session wrap up and to talk about what we've done and to look back on what all we've accomplished over this past session. Session did just end in the past few days as I speak now, and it was a historically short session. It ended a little early, and it was all really very peaceful. A lot of working together and bipartisanship as we sort of came into some of the final agreements, and it feels good that this is a way that we could wrap up this session for Minnesota. It's interesting as you're in the middle of all of these things, there's a flurry of activity and a lot of individual issues being discussed, and after you have a little time to maybe catch up on some sleep and really look at everything in its full context, you see that all of these many pieces really do make up one whole. And I know from my perspective, this is what I feel like I was sent here to do, to really focus on some of these priorities, and when in reflecting back to look at these things, you really see how it all kind of comes together, and it's pretty exciting. For one thing, I think we've done a lot of things that are very common sense, a lot aimed at fiscal stability for the state as a whole and for Minnesotans as individuals and as families and as businesses. And we've really invested in our future. We want to create opportunities for Minnesotans as we look ahead, and that's what's really important, and I think we've made some really important progress in accomplishing that. In terms of fiscal stability, Minnesota is in the best shape it's been in a decade. We're fiscally, in terms of our budget, in really good position moving forward. Our jobs numbers are the best they've been in a long time, and we're seeing new economic development throughout the state, and so it's really positive signs. So as we came into this session and had a significant surplus to work with and to look at and to consider seriously how we were going to handle that in terms of fiscal stability and fiscal responsibility, we had a number of opportunities, and I'm really proud of the way we've handled that. I think we've done it in a very measured and responsible way. We cut taxes by $550 million for nearly 2 million Minnesota families and businesses and farmers, and this comes in the form of income and property and sales tax relief. I was pleased to be a co-author on one of the bills that repealed the 3 business-to-business taxes that I think help us in terms of our economic viability as a state moving ahead. We made key investments in what I consider to be one of our most important investments we can make, which is our education, and we did that from early childhood through K through 12 and up into higher education. These are the most important things we can do to secure our future, not just for our kids, but for our state as a whole in the long run. We funded a long overdue raise for our home and community care providers. This is a group of people who work so hard and provide vital services to our family members, and it's been a long time since they've seen any kind of raise, and so this was really important that we do that this year. And finally, we bolstered our rainy day fund, which is important. We all need a savings account, right? And the state does too, so that we can be prepared if there are going to be any economic downturns. And in addition to putting some additional funds in there, we also created a long-term mechanism moving forward so that we can maintain it. It's good for short-term and long-term fiscal stability, so that was a good thing to do. As this is not a budget year, this is a bonding year, so our bonding or capital investment package was one of the biggest things that we did. And I'm so excited to look at it in its total package and see what it means for our state. These are important construction projects across the state. It's going to improve our communities, and it's all about economic development. We're going to create more than 28,000 jobs for Minnesotans just with these projects in getting them built in the first place, but in the long run, it's the kind of investments in our communities that will pay out dividends for years and years and years to come. I had 3 provisions that were introduced and then included in the bonding bill. Gateway Corridor is the bus rapid transit line that will run from St. Paul's Union Depot out 94 east towards through Woodbury to Manning Avenue. This is included in a Metropolitan Council provision, and I'm excited because that means that important East Metro project can continue progressing as we move ahead, and that's a big one for the East Metro. We also had a water line in Lake Elmo that will support the near-term growth that they're going to have, and then Fish Creek Natural Area. It's a small park, but a very important one in South Maplewood that links a number of the regional parks and trail systems, and it's a real gem. This was a small project, but it will have, I think, very significant regional impact over time, and it's important that we protect that resource. There were also additional provisions that affect my communities. The East Metro Public Safety Training Center in Maplewood is a coalition of about 24 fire departments in the East Metro, so it's a great shared resource, and so that was a good thing to help train and prepare our fire departments as they keep us safe every day. Tubman Center has an eastern facility in Maplewood as well, and they're going to really be able to expand and provide a lot of protections for women and children, and that is such a hugely valuable resource for the region. And then there's an Oakdale Trail that will provide some accessibility in central Oakdale. And then there are some other East Metro projects that are, I think, really significant for the area. The Metro State University is going to have a science center, which is so important for preparing our STEM workforce for so many companies in the East Metro. Likewise, Century College has a technology lab that is going to be funded as well. And so all of these projects mean jobs now and jobs in the long run, and that's a good thing. We also had some additional measures throughout the session that I think likewise represent the sort of opportunities that I think are so important to all of us. The Women's Economic Security Act is going to support women and families. It's going to help take care of our kids better, and that's really important. We took a measured approach, which I think was the way to do it, in increasing our minimum wage so that our workforce will have a little extra money to spend, and that's going to come back into our economy. And we did it in a way that I think is very responsive to businesses' concerns, which was very important to me. And we also, it seems like a long time ago in this short season, but we had the Safe and Supportive Schools Act, which is so important to make sure that all of our kids have a safe environment for learning, because that's how they're going to succeed in the long run. Finally, just in terms of my own work, I'm really proud that 3/4 of my bills made it through the legislative process. I focused on some areas that I think are really key to our state. The bonding ones that I mentioned earlier, several public safety provisions that included some domestic violence protections, and finally education, making sure our kids are kindergarten ready and able to read at grade 3. And these are the kinds of things that are going to help us be strong moving forward. Finally, this was just a very productive session. We got a lot done in a short amount of time. We have a lot of great and positive news for Minnesota. And ultimately, it just means more opportunity for all in the future. And so as we look back, these are the things I think we can all celebrate. And speaking of which, as we wrap up this session, that means I'm going to be spending more time in my district this summer and into the fall. Interim is a great time to reconnect with folks and talk about what we've done and to start talking about things that we need to be doing moving ahead. I'm going to be out and about attending a lot of community gatherings, visit area businesses and groups, and I hope to see folks. And please feel free to contact my office if you'd like for me to attend something or visit a group or a business, or if you'd like to set a meeting. This is a great time when we have time to have lengthier conversations and talk about things that are on people's minds. And I look forward to that opportunity, and I look forward to being back at home in the community. Thanks so much.